When you hear the name Dracula, most of us picture a pale vampire with a cape and sharp fangs. But what if I told you that the real Dracula was much, much scarier? He wasn't a myth. He was flesh and blood. And his deeds were so brutal that every vampire tale pales in comparison. So forget the legends, this is the true story of Vlad the Impaler, the man who became a monster. Part 1. The Birth of a Monster. To understand what created Vlad III, we must travel back to the 15th century, to the Balkans. It was a wild and dangerous land, constantly torn apart by war. Imagine a cauldron where the interests of the mighty Kingdom of Hungary and the expanding Ottoman Empire collided. And right in the middle, serving as a buffer between these two powers, lay the small but strategically crucial Principality of Wallachia. It was here, in 1431, that Vlad was born, the son of Prince Vlad II. His father wasn't just anyone. He was a member of the prestigious Order of the Dragon, an elite society of knights founded by Emperor Sigismund of Luxembourg to defend Christianity against the Ottomans. For his membership, Vlad II earned the nickname Dracul, meaning the dragon in Old Romanian. His son, young Vlad, was therefore called Dracula, the son of the dragon. In modern Romanian, however, the word Drac also means devil, a dark omen of what was to come. Vlad's life changed forever when he was just 11. To maintain a fragile political balance, his father sent him and his younger brother Radu as political hostages to the court of Sultan Murad II. What Vlad experienced there scarred him for life. It wasn't a typical prison. It was a golden cage filled with intrigue, betrayal, and unimaginable cruelty. He lived in luxury and received an excellent education, but every day reminded him of his helplessness. He saw with his own eyes how the Ottomans ruled through fear, their torture methods, executions, and especially the slow, horrifying punishment of impalement, which he would later make infamous. Those years were not just his youth, they were his university of terror. There, in the heart of the enemy empire, the foundations of a future monster were laid. Vlad learned that power did not come from justice, but from absolute paralyzing fear. Part 2. Rise to Power and the First Cruelties. When Vlad finally returned to Wallachia, he found a land in chaos. His father and elder brother had been murdered, and a puppet ruler sat on the throne. The country was torn apart by the greed of noblemen, the boyars, who betrayed their homeland for personal gain, allying with Hungarians or Turks as it suited them. Vlad understood that to rule, he had to destroy this rotten system at its core, and he decided to do it in a way Wallachia had never seen before. After reclaiming the throne in 1456, Vlad hosted a grand Easter feast and invited hundreds of boyars with their families. In the middle of the celebration, he asked, "How many princes have ruled this land in your lifetime?" Proud of their influence and age, they competed to answer. Some remembered 5, others 7, some even more. Without realizing it, they had just signed their own death warrants. Vlad's reaction was swift and merciless. The old and powerful boyars were immediately arrested and impaled in front of the castle. The younger and stronger ones, along with their families, were forced to march 50 kilometers into the mountains to build his fortress at Poenary by hand. Many died from exhaustion and brutal treatment. With that single horrifying act, Vlad destroyed his opposition and sent a clear message. Disloyalty means death. He established order, but its price was terrifying. Under his rule, the country became safe, yet it was a peace built on blood and fear. Legend has it that he placed a golden cup in the town square of his capital, Targovist, from which anyone could drink. During his reign, no one dared to steal it. Part 3. The Forest of the Impaled. The year 1462 was written in blood. Sultan Mehmed II, conqueror of Constantinople and one of the most powerful men in the world, decided to end the defiant prince once and for all. He gathered a massive army and marched on Wallachia. Vlad could muster barely a third of his numbers. A direct battle would be suicide. So Vlad turned to scorched earth tactics and psychological warfare. His small, mobile units waged a guerrilla war, ambushing supply lines, poisoning wells, burning villages, wearing down the invaders' morale. One night, Vlad personally led a daring attack on the Sultan's own camp in an attempt to kill Mehmed himself. Though he failed to find him, the assault threw the Ottoman army into chaos and panic. But that was only a prelude to his most infamous act. When Mehmed's exhausted army finally approached the capital, Targovist, they found no resistance, only horror. Before them stretched a landscape straight from hell, a forest of the impaled. Historical sources differ on the exact number, but contemporary accounts speak of up to 20,000 corpses, Ottoman prisoners and traitorous Wallachians, impaled on stakes of varying height depending on rank. Imagine the sight. Thousands of bodies in various stages of decay. The stench of death thick in the air. Silence broken only by flies and crows feasting on the dead. Even Sultan Mehmed II, a man hardened by war, was reportedly so shocked that he said, "It is impossible to take the country from a man who can do such things." Vlad couldn't defeat the Ottoman army militarily, but he defeated it psychologically. The message was clear: I am capable of anything. My madness knows no bounds. Proceed if you dare. Part 4. Psychological Warfare and Propaganda. Vlad's brutality wasn't mere sadism. It was calculated. He knew he couldn't match the Ottomans' numbers, but he could crush their spirit. Every impaled enemy was not just a corpse. It was a billboard of terror, a warning to anyone who dared to invade his land. However, the story of Vlad the Monster wasn't entirely his own creation. He was also the victim of one of history's first successful propaganda campaigns. His enemies, particularly the Saxon merchants of Transylvania and the Hungarian king Matthias Corvinus, spread horrifying pamphlets illustrated with woodcuts depicting Vlad as a bloodthirsty beast dining among impaled corpses. Why? Because Corvinus betrayed him. Instead of aiding Vlad against the Turks, the Hungarian king imprisoned him. The mad tyrant narrative provided the perfect justification for his actions. The truth is more complicated. Vlad was indeed a cruel ruler, even by the brutal standards of the 15th century, but his supposed sadism was exaggerated for political gain. The monster we know today was, in part, a creation of propaganda. That's why in Romania and Bulgaria, Vlad is still viewed not merely as a tyrant, but also as a controversial national hero who defended his homeland and Christian Europe from Ottoman expansion. Part 5. Fall and Mysterious Death. Despite his psychological victory over the Sultan, Vlad's position was doomed. While he fought the Turks, his brother Radu, loyal to the Ottomans, won the support of boyars tired of Vlad's tyranny. And then came the final betrayal. Matthias Corvinus, his supposed ally, lured Vlad into a trap in 1462 and imprisoned him. He spent around 12 years in Hungarian captivity, though details vary. Eventually, as the Ottoman threat rose again, Corvinus released him. In 1476, Vlad reclaimed the Wallachian throne for the third and final time, but his reign lasted only 2 months. The circumstances of his death remain a mystery. Some say he fell in battle. Others believe he was assassinated by his own boyars. What is certain is what followed. His head was cut off and sent to the Sultan in Constantinople as a trophy, preserved in honey to prevent decay. It was impaled and displayed for all to see. The man whose name was synonymous with impalement ended as an impaled symbol himself, a grim and fitting end for a ruler who lived and died by terror. His burial place remains disputed to this day. Conclusion and call to action. The story of Vlad the Impaler is complex and unsettling. He was a man born in cruel times who fought cruelty with even greater cruelty. He was a strategist, a tyrant, a patriot, and a mass murderer all at once. His connection to Bram Stoker's fictional Dracula is loose at best. Stoker borrowed his name and a few historical fragments, but the real Vlad was far more terrifying than any vampire. He didn't need supernatural powers to inspire fear. His real-life actions were worse than fiction. The truth about him isn't black and white. It's not just a story of a monster or a hero. It's a story about how a man can become a monster while fighting monsters, and how easily the line between protector and destroyer can blur. So what do you think? Was Vlad the Impaler a deranged sadist, a brilliant strategist, or both? Tell us your opinion in the comments. And if you're fascinated by the dark chapters of history, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon, so you won't miss what's coming next.